Menchaca, el orador de este año, es un abogado basado en Los Ángeles y fundador y presidente de la Red de Profesionales Latinos, la mayor red de diversos profesionales en los Estados Unidos.
Our keynote speaker has made an incredible commitment to the Latino community and dedicates his life to ensure quality of life is improved in the areas that he represents. This year's keynote speaker, Alejandro Menchaca, is a Los Angeles-based lawyer and the founder and president of the Latino Professional Network, the largest network of Latino and diverse professionals in the United States. Ayúdenme a bienvenir al señor Menchaca.
First off, thank you for this is a tremendous honor. I want to acknowledge the Chicano Latino Graduation Committee, especially its chair, Dora Cruz, President Donald Para, Associate Vice President Dr. Manuel Perez, Grand Marshal Dr. Jose Moreno, the administrators and faculty of Cal State Long Beach, family members and friends who are here today. But most of all, I am here to congratulate the 2014 graduating class of Cal State Long Beach. I would like to echo the sentiment of all of us here today and say that we are proud of you. Many of you here don't hear it enough. Now today you will hear it, but it is important that you carry that message with you in your heart each and every day of your life. Now today, family members will throw dinners for you. Tomorrow, they might tell you that it's time to move out of the house. That's what my dad told me. Today, you will upload a picture on Instagram and receive 200 plus likes, maybe more. Tomorrow, you may be back to your usual 20 likes. That's okay. I am here to impress upon you the scope of what you have done. A report was recently released which highlights the tremendous scope of what you have in fact accomplished today. Latinos in California represent 40% of the population. Latinos in LA represent 48% of the population. And while the number of Latinos entering college has increased, some 7 out of 10 Latino high school graduates are now enrolling into college. Only 11% of Latinos in California over the age of 25 have a college degree. While that number will increase, there's still a ways to go. So by virtue of the fact that you have beaten the odds, by virtue of the fact that you have gotten to this day, you are more than just college graduates. You represent the new generation of Latino leaders. So again, when I say that I am proud of you, believe it. When your parents tell you that they are proud of you, believe it. Believe it in your heart and carry it with you every day, even on those days when it is most difficult to believe. Now, when I graduated from Stanford University years ago, I recall my parents driving up to move me back home from my dorm room. We gathered up my belongings and drove back down to LA. And so I found myself, a Stanford graduate, living in the same room that I had moved out of. My room was exactly as I had left it when I had graduated high school. I remember lying there with space shuttle wallpaper around me, feeling a bit down on myself. I had graduated from one of the top universities in the world and found myself without a job lined up, with no real prospects. Some of my friends were working at some of the top accounting firms. Others were working at new internet startups, which back then were known as Yahoo and Google. Others had been accepted to medical school, and it was a sobering experience. I recall that several days prior to my graduation, I had a conversation with a close friend of mine. His name's Gary Grundy, and he went on to Harvard Law School following graduation. I had told him a week prior to my graduation that I felt like a failure, that I had no job, and that my future was uncertain, I started to tear up. Well, to be honest, I started to cry. And he turned to me and said, "Do you realize, Ale, that you are already a success, and your success will continue to grow?" So it was with those words that I kept close to me through difficult times. As a college graduate, you know what it's like to take tests. Many of you just finished your finals. And life will present you with many more tests, I assure you. You will be presented with challenges that will seem insurmountable at times. Each and every one of you will face them. None of us are immune. And so while many of you have great jobs or internships lined up, others of you enter the real world with a certain degree of uncertainty, as I do. And I say to you, to those of you in that boat, don't worry. The fact that you stand here today as college graduates makes me highly confident that you will pass life's subsequent tests with flying colors. You've already made it. You already are a success, and you will continue to do great things. As a recent grad, you will hear a lot of advice and have probably heard much already. But I thought I'd leave you with some advice that I wish someone had told me when I was graduating. And no, I didn't rip this off some blog, although I could have. Number one, do what you are passionate about. I think I just heard the young man Nestor echo that statement. Many of us have heard what we should do with our lives. We've been given advice by parents, friends, teachers, frenemies, and even haters, so be careful who you take your advice from. Many of us have been encouraged to go into certain professions that are traditionally perceived to be more financially stable. As a child, I always thought, well, I don't like math, so I can't be a doctor. But I knew how to speak and write well, so I thought that left me with one other option, becoming a lawyer. There was only plan A and plan B. But now I've come to learn that life offers us many more options. Now, while I know there are many future lawyers, doctors, and engineers in the audience today, and those are very worthy professions, this world also needs fashion designers, mental health therapists, nutritionists, artists, public relations specialists, and probation officers. Stress is derived from those who work hard at something that they care little about. To work hard at something you love is called passion. I'll make a small confession. I did get that off of Facebook. But all kidding aside, I've seen many friends and colleagues in less conventional professions surpass others in those careers that are perceived to be more financially stable, both in money and, more importantly, in happiness. So if you want to be a lawyer, don't do it because your parents want you to do it, or because you think you'll make money. You will burn out, I promise you that. Do it because you want to be an advocate, because others need your voice, and because you seek to do justice, at least in some small fashion. We are most motivated when we do those things we love, so seek out that love. Not only in your relationships, but in your professions and in your daily lives. Number two, have a good team. 15 years ago, I created the Latino Professional Network out of the belief that this burgeoning community of Latino professionals needed others that they could turn to for support. This organization allowed them to turn to like-minded individuals to network for job opportunities and to grow their businesses. You will also need your own personal and professional network. Now, after today, many of you will be dispersed to the winds, and some of you may lose track of your friends. As the years pass and life leads you on different journeys, don't allow that to happen. Today, these are your friends that got you through that painful breakup, stood with you when you pulled that all-nighter, or nursed you back to health after a long night of, let's just call it socializing. But 10 to 20 years from now, these friends will be CEOs, doctors, lawyers, judges, elected officials, and they will be a resource. Now, I went to college with Tiger Woods, Reese Witherspoon, and Marissa Mayer, the CEO of Yahoo. Unfortunately, when I graduated, I didn't ask them for their phone numbers. Big mistake on my part. So take a moment right now to look at your friends and make the promise to keep them as your friends. And don't just communicate with them over Snapchat or post a picture on Instagram. Make it a point to pick up the phone, which is a lost art form these days. Visit with them, see them in person, break bread, tell jokes, and laugh together. Make a dent in the universe. We live in a big and beautiful interconnected world. Now, after you leave here, you will form new families. Most of you will fall in love, if you haven't already. Marry and have children. And guess what? By doing what you have done today, you have already made an impact on the lives of your future spouses and children and their children. The chance that the child of a college graduate will go on to earn a university education increases dramatically. My father was a proud graduate of Cal State LA, a Golden Eagle. He was my role model, and by seeing that he had already achieved his degree, made it so much more accessible for me to achieve one. I never felt that a college education was out of reach, nor did I feel that a law degree was out of reach. Your children will feel the same. The idea of obtaining a master's, a PhD, a law, or medical degree will be within reach. So as you sit here today, graduates of Cal State Long Beach, remember that you have also changed the lives of your future husbands and wives, children, and grandchildren. But there is an even greater impact which you can make, and I illustrate this impact with a personal story. My grandfather, Manuel Menchaca, was born in Arizona. His father, my great-grandfather, had moved his family from Mexico for a better life. My grandfather went on to serve in World War II in the Air Force as a bomber over Europe. When he returned to Boyle Heights, there's always a lot of folks from Boyle Heights, I've noticed. He decided to open a small glass shop, the Evergreen Glass Shop, near the corner of Evergreen and Brooklyn, which years later was renamed Cesar Chavez. If you know where El Tepeyac is, it's right down the street from El Tepeyac. He built his glass shop from scratch. Now, every day after work, his friends, fellow and local businessmen would gather at his glass shop to imbibe in a cocktail or two or three or four, and to share stories. My grandfather started to realize that he could harness the talents and resources of these men to impact the community at large. When my late uncle, Eddie Ramirez, wanted to go to USC for pharmacy school, my grandfather lent him some money that would allow him to make that dream a reality. Eddie went on to be one of the first Latino pharmacy students at USC, if not the first, and thereafter opened the legendary Ramirez Pharmacy on the corner of Soto and Cesar Chavez. A lot of you have been there, it's still there. Don't let Walgreens take you away, they're trying to. Out of Eddie's 6 children, 1 is a physician, 2 are pharmacists, 1 is a nurse practitioner. His granddaughter just graduated from dental school. There was a young man that used to hang out at the glass shop. He wanted to go to law school. His nickname was Charlie Brown because I guess he was follically challenged. Uncle Eddie and my grandfather gave him some money so he could pursue that dream, and he enrolled in Southwestern Law School. Charlie Brown is now Judge Carlos Uranga, the presiding judge at the Alhambra Courthouse, who just retired a few weeks back after countless years of service. Using his friends as founding members, they started one of the first Latino businessmen's organizations on the East Side, called Los Amigos. They ran candidates for office. They contributed money so that young people could go to college. They held a huge Christmas basket drive every year where they contributed hundreds of turkeys and gifts to local families. Now, those first trailblazers made an impact on not just the lives of their families, which was significant, but on the lives of their neighborhoods, of their communities and on society. They helped others who in turn became amazing individuals and impacted the lives of so many. I use the metaphor of a pebble being thrown into a pond and the ripples spreading outward. They made a dent in the universe, and it's incumbent upon you as Latino college graduates and as Latino leaders to do the same. So become a mentor, make an impact on the life of a young person, get involved in a political campaign, run for office, support a local charity, and make a difference. Because guess what? You are now role models, and along with your diplomas, you have gained something else, something equally as important: the power to effectuate positive change in the world around you. The fourth piece of advice: be grateful. Gratitude is a conditioned precedent, to borrow a legal term, to happiness. One cannot be happy without first being grateful. You did not get here alone, as I think you know that. You got here through your own hard work, intelligence, and diligence. But you also benefited from the hard work, sacrifice, and support of those who love and care for you. Many of us do not come from wealth, but we come from something more important. We come from tight-knit families that love us. Now, sometimes our parents aren't particularly expressive about their love for us. Certainly my dad doesn't give me a warm abrazo every time I see him. Tells me how much he loves me. But I know it to be true, because you can tell by their actions. For some of you, your parents made the ultimate sacrifice, leaving their own families and loved ones, leaving the familiarity of their homelands to come to a foreign land, to come to America in pursuit of a dream. And that dream was not just theirs. No, it was a bigger dream. It was, in reality, a dream for you, their children, that you could have greater opportunity, go to college, become a professional, and have a better life than they had. So as you sit here today, realize that your parents' dreams have come true. So take some time today to thank them. Now, I was very fortunate that I had a father who was already a college grad from Cal State LA. He helped me, Cal State LA? He helped me with my school reports as a kid. Actually, sometimes he just wrote them. That's cheating, don't do that. Despite my lack of athletic ability, he enrolled me in various sports, hoping that I would find one that I liked and was semi-good at. That never came to pass. He helped me to fill out financial aid forms when I applied to college. My mother was an immigrant, a beauty queen born in Guatemala who spent almost all her childhood in Tijuana, Mexico. She came here when she was 19. Now, despite the fact that she didn't speak English, she enrolled in English classes as a young mother so that she could help me with my schooling. By the age of 5, she had taught me every capital in the world and how to count to the number 10,000. She improved her own educational level primarily so she could support me. And for that, I am thankful. And for those of you who had parents like mine who sat down with you to help you with your homework, put up with your teenage drama, and encouraged you every step of the way, take a moment to thank them. And for those of you who were raised by a single parent, or even by a grandparent, relative, or foster parent, thank them, because there is no more difficult role than fulfilling that of another. And be grateful to your teachers, mentors, relatives, professors, clergy members, counselors, and God, to everyone and everything that helped you to get where you are now. Life will certainly hand you things to complain about. But too often we choose to not recognize our blessings and only see what we deem to be lacking. It's as if we were looking at this beautiful ceiling and noticing the one tile that is missing. although no tiles are missing. Okay? Too often this is a mistaken perspective. Too often we compare ourselves to an idealized version of ourselves that we've created only in our heads. We tell ourselves that by a certain age, we'll be living in a big mansion, married to an amazing person, and have X amount of dollars in our bank account. For some, those dreams do in fact become realities. But for many others, it's like that John Lennon lyric, life is what happens to you while you're busy making other plans. Chances are if you took the time to actually count up your blessings, you would realize how good you actually have it. We're also prone to comparing ourselves to others. And I say, cut it out. Because we are not comparing ourselves to most people. Most people in this world live in third world nations, live in abject poverty, are plagued by crime, violence, and hunger. No, you compare yourselves, and this is probably because of the advent of social media, to that very small percentage of people you perceive to be the most wealthiest, most successful, most beautiful, or most popular. But social media often just provides us with a glossy version of their lives. It rarely reveals the problems and struggles which we all face, how they got to where they are, or their level of happiness. So be grateful for who you are, what you have, and what you aim to do. And this is my last point. Own it. Own your success. Own the fact that you, each and every one of you, have made it. Now, older generations are apt to lambaste and criticize younger generations. It's happened since the dawn of time. Now, a lot of folks, they like to criticize your generation as the selfie generation. I don't take selfies because nobody wants to see a selfie from some middle-aged guy. They call you a group of self-entitled narcissists. Now, I would respectfully disagree. Yours is an amazing generation of connected young people. Because of social media, you're connected to individuals from Budapest to Indonesia. Because of social media, you see that people the world over are not really so much different than you. You are a generation of expressive leaders who share your thoughts on Facebook, Instagram, and blogs for the world to see. And from those status updates and memes come ideas which transform into movements. You are a generation that is tearing down barriers and are far more compassionate to others than members of generations before you. You embrace the differences in others, and rather than discriminate against others because of their race, gender, sexual orientation, or age, you choose to celebrate those differences. And for that, I applaud you most of all. You are a generation of dreamers. Some of you here today are undocumented, and your journey up to this point was very uncertain. But just recently, an undocumented law school grad passed the bar and is now licensed as a lawyer in the state of California. So your dream is quickly transforming into a reality of promise. Yet more than dreamers, yours is also a generation of doers. A generation who experienced the worst recession since the Great Depression. But you were undaunted and have made it here today. And today you have done something very important. You have graduated college. So in parting, yes, I'm done. In parting, I'd like to congratulate the 2014 class of Cal State Long Beach for a job well done. Go out into the world and do big things. Go out into the world and exercise your leadership. Go out into the world and make it a better place. Thank you.
gracias, señor Menchaca, por sus palabras de inspiración y por servir como ejemplo para todos nosotros.